Right, hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel once again. In my happy place. I thought today, well, while I'm having a cup of tea, of course, as you do, I thought I'd answer a question I get asked quite a lot. And being a biker and being a camper and the lifestyle that I used to live, and you know about the addictions and things. And the question I get a lot is, why do you believe in God? Why are you a Christian? So I thought I'd have a chat to you about that today, just to let you know why. Religion to me is a dirty word. Hate it. There's been more damage done worldwide through religion. I'm not just talking about Christianity, I'm talking about all religions. What I have is a faith. I have a faith in the Creator God. Through Jesus Christ. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't bother about religions or the different parts of Christianity or anything else. If they believe, then I'm quite happy to worship with them and fellowship, etc. But that out of the way, faith is a strange thing. Faith, the definition of faith is a hope in something unseen. So you have a faith in this thing happening. But blind faith is absolute stupidity. If you go in to be a whatever it is and you just think, okay, yeah, this is the way, and know nothing about it, then in my opinion, you're a fool. Why do I believe in God? Because to me there's too much evidence not to. And that comes back to it. It's not a blind faith that I've got. It's something that I've looked at. And there's two parts to this, or two sides to the coin. One, we have the people who believe in evolution, that things all happen sort of by chance and they all developed and here we are where we are today. And then you've got the creationists, those who believe in a creating God, a benevolent creating God. So I thought what I'd do, I'd lay out what my thought process was, and this is just to do with me. This doesn't come out of a textbook or a theological college or anything else. This is just my journey towards it, like everything I do on this show, with my the cancer and the addictions and all the other stuff. And so I'm about 4 weeks into recovery from another lot of surgery. So we're taking it very quietly, but. What I looked at is both sides of the story. And if we start with the evolution, now the Big Bang Theory seems to be the one that's the most popular or seems to have the most traction, and that is when all sorts of particles and dust and matter all joined together and created not only the Earth but our solar system and the universe. And then from there, over millions of years, we had a bit of moisture, I presume, the heat from everything fusing together and all that sort of thing. A bit of an atmosphere appeared, a bit of condensation because of that, and then we got water. And that water was probably a bit manky, and we started to get algae and pond scum and all that sort of stuff. And from there, a few million years later, we had a lot of growth, a lot of vegetation and stuff, and then after a while we had little fish or whatever they were, and they crawled out and became all the different sorts of animals that we have on Earth at the moment. And that was a few million years ago, obviously, and then it all developed on. Now I can go along with most of that, but I've got I had four problems with it. For one, and I'm now talking from a creationist point of view, if all we had was space, it's a void, right? There's nothing there. So where did the dust come from and the other matter? Because if you had nothing, you can't get something from nothing. But for the sake of argument, let's just go along with that for a moment, that there was dust and stuff around there. To create this universe, there would I don't know how much of it there needed to be. You have a look at the Earth that we live on, how much dust needed to create that. But it's not just the amount of dust, it's the sort of dust. Like we've got earth, we've got rocks, we've got metals. How do they all come together? You go into a gold mine, for example. How did all that gold suddenly get to one spot? If it was by chance and it just evolved, there'd be a spoonful here and a spoonful there. What's the way I sort of looked at it. And then we get to the water. That's fine. I can sort of understand how that would work. And then you look at the organisms that were growing in it. That's fine as well. Until you get to the stage where there's animals or fish or whatever they were coming out of the water to create animals. Now, I don't know what the process is or what it would have been to convert vegetable matter into flesh. Now, I can go along with a lot of the other stuff if someone scientifically put it to me and it was sort of plausible. But vegetable matter to flesh, no, I can't get that at all. Some people explain it away. There was like the meteorites hitting Earth, and that the impacts created a heap of radiation and heat, and that morphed the vegetable matter into flesh, into animals. But if you look at that just before my lifetime, because I was born in the early 50s, born in 51, 6 years before that, we had bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What happened to the people? They didn't revert back to vegetables, and the vegetables didn't become flesh. And our latest, or the ones that we've been reported anyway, of Chernobyl, what's happened there? The nuclear fallout and the radiation hasn't produced flesh and vegetation and vice versa. They've produced all sorts of other malfunctions, but they haven't converted it, and that's the real big sticking point for me. So if one part of it's not true, then the rest of it you start to think about that and think, okay, is this right or is this wrong? And if you come to the conclusion that, no, I don't think that really all ties together, what's the alternative? And the only other alternative is they were created. This earth, this whole majestic universe that we live in, was created by a consciousness and a being far greater than anything that we can imagine. And I'm not talking about aliens living on Mars and that sort of carry on. This is something that's absolutely outstanding. And it gets to a stage where this consciousness, and I read an article just recently that scientists, or some scientists, are now thinking that there was consciousness before matter. And it's not a new argument, but it's reared its head again. So there could be something in there, couldn't it? But the consciousness that we look at, we call God. And it's a creator God, and he is a benevolent creator God because he produced this life, produced this beautiful country. Look around you. Just look around at what you've got. And I'm not saying look at the concrete wall next door if you're living in the middle of a big high-rise city. But even with that, he's given us the ingenuity to be able to build things like that. Things like that don't just happen by chance. So a lot of people I talk to, because as a member of CMA, the Christian Motorcyclists Association, what we do, we're an evangelical motorcycle mission, and we take the gospel out to the bikers. Now, we might not talk much about it, but we can show by our lifestyle and how we live, there's a different way of doing things and a different way of living, and still really enjoy motorcycling, where you don't have to be stoned and drunk and chase STDs to get a good lifestyle. So, which used to be my lifestyle. Anyway, I know what I'm talking about, but there's another way of doing it. So when we look at the people that I talk to, and they say, "Oh yeah, I sort of believe a little bit. I believe there's something out there," and I just say to them, "You're the first step along the way, mate, because you understand that this isn't just by chance that something actually created it. You just haven't got round to the point of calling that creator God. And once you do that, then everything else falls into place, right through to the Christianity of the coming of Christ. And I'll talk to you about that at some stage too. I won't today. But that's where the thing is with me. That's why I'm a Christian. That's why I believe in God, because I can't see it happening in any other way. So I hope that makes some sort of sense and helps. Have a think about it. That's why I believe in God. There can't be anything else. And when you talk about evidence, no, we can't see God. And some people say, oh, you've got an invisible friend. All that sort of thing. Well, good for them. That's great. I've got no problem with that. But I sort of say it like this, is that no, I can't see God, but I can see the evidence of him. All I have to do is look around me. You know, this is why I say this is my happy place. This is great. But if you think about the wind, you can't see it, but you can feel it. And you can see it just nodding leaves around or whatever the thing does. But it can also come in gale force and typhoons as well as. You can see the evidence of what God is too. Okay, so that's me for this week. But if you want to find out more, give me a yell in the comments or leave a message on loosewithgoose@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to talk to you and point you in the right direction if you're not already in the right direction. Okay, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to ride free, and of course, God bless. Yeah.